Hey guys, what is up? Inksmith back again. I want to begin this video by first apologizing for the mistakes I made on my last video about Creepshow art and Emily and the locale files. Yes, that's all three things including the last one. Good job, Inksmith. You did it. I gotta apologize. I messed up the genders. Number one, first, Omnia is they, them, and Shannon's sister, who she listed on locale, was they, them too. I said she. I made the mistake. My intent is never to misgender. I am going to do better. I have ADD and dyslexia. I need to be reading stuff more than once and correcting that. For Shannon's sister, I didn't realize till later. I read the report Shannon made, and she refuses to list the proper gender of her own sisters. She completely disrespects that. I don't want to follow in Shannon's footsteps and do the same thing. So again, I apologize for that. Guys, today I would just love to read through some of these comments and you guys' input on this. I think some of these are just so hilarious. Some are very true and some are very dark. Let's get into it. In my last video, a commenter named Kari, or maybe it's Kari as it would be said in Japan, says, how could one person cause so much destruction? She actively tries to destroy people's lives. Yeah, that's the craziest thing. I mean, think about this, guys. Emily and her were not friends. Emily and Shannon weren't friends. These weren't like BFFL high school friends. They know each other through Anthony, the man who refuses to talk and remains silent between all of this hate. And Shannon has gone out of her way to document, keep, and stalk Emily for so long, only to cause destruction. I mean, she's really had no other purpose to do this other than to attempt to harass and cause destruction in Emily's life. Person after person says this in the comments, and again, I think that I don't get it. I don't understand why you would live to do this, why you would make your lifetime purpose to destroy someone else. Emily, maybe she really pissed you off from dating your ex in the past, but it's not like she went and killed your whole family. There's not a good reason for a vendetta here. It's crazy. Next up, another viewer named Annette W says, I feel bad for the people who actually thought CSA, Creepshow Art, was their friend and found out all the awful things she did on locale, sorry, not LOLcal, how she hurt and betrayed them and how it must have felt. It really showed how horrible she was. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if Shannon ever tried to pat you on the back, man, you better check for a knife. This happens within YouTube. I've been part of different YouTube communities before, and it can get pretty competitive. And you can somewhat understand the competition making people very jealous, subs, views. I can not say that that's a great thing, but I can also somewhat understand the competition side of being jealous, and maybe it even motivates you to get more subs and more views. But she was going out of her way to attack people not even in the same genre or even in the same competition or field. She was just doing it out of spite and malice. And that's the scariest part about it. The next most upvoted comment is Jensen Kona, and they also said they were a former fan. And I want to just read the last part that she wrote here in the comments. She said, also basically telling all of her followers to F off for not believing her, etc. Really disappointing. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the saddest and most disappointing thing about this, and there really is a lot of disappointment in it, because if Shannon would have come back and made a genuine attempt at a sincere apology, because I'm sure she's probably regretting it right now, and even if the sorry is only for herself, even if it's only her saying, I am so sorry this happened, while thinking, I'm sorry this happened to me and that I got called out, at least she showed some sort of responsibility, some sort of weakness, some sort of defeat, in the sense that she's been completely found out. I think a lot of her former fans would have just stuck with her, the ones that said, even if you did this, it's okay, we'll stick with you. I think they would have just stuck with her, And I think she probably would have even regained back a couple of people. Probably people would have forgotten about this over the next 2 to 3 years. Maybe a little longer. Maybe it would push out a little longer, but I doubt more than 1 or 2 or 3 years at max would this go on for, where she'd get hate for it. And she could have continued her career. Yeah, she's down by probably 100K subs. So what? I mean, I've seen plenty of people build themselves back up. It's the complete sense of betrayal, and a betrayal that not only goes against Emily, but against her own viewers, and not even her own viewers, but even those viewers who were loyal enough to stick with her through all of this. Even through all this, they said, we don't even care if you did it. She told them to F off. I mean, the tenacity in that girl. Oh, I mean, I just can't believe it. Like, is there no shame? Like, does she really think there's a single person out there now at this point, even those loyal fans, who think, well, she was really wronged at this point? I seriously doubt there's anybody else out there like that. Next up, we got a pretty harrowing comment from Zoe Hartist. She wrote, her behavior is truly terrifying. I experienced doxing about 12 years ago when I ran a large fan community for a celebrity. Someone who followed me thought I was in a relationship with that celeb, and it raised an army of like-minded fangirls to destroy me. By the way, I wasn't, yeah. But it led me to disappear from the internet for many years. And even when I returned to create art online myself, I was very hesitant to do this on Instagram and YouTube because of what I experienced. And that wasn't anywhere near as bad as CSA has done. Yeah, wow. I mean, first of all, Zoe Hartis, my heart goes out to you. That sucks. I've dealt with a little bit of harassment with bullying in a community that I was in before, and I know what you mean when you say you want to just disappear from the internet. You want to just get away from all the drama and all the hate, and you just want to withdraw back into your shell, and it just makes even going on the internet displeasurable. It's a really hard thing to deal with because we do everything on the internet these days, and it's like someone took one of the main facets of your life away from you just out of the fact of being mean for nothing you're guilty of. It's a horrible situation, so I'm sorry you had to experience that. But second of all, I would bet all the money I have in my bank, and that's not a lot of money, that Shannon thought that's what this would do. This would be her coup de grace. This would be her final hit against Emily that would send her reeling in off the internet. I think she thought that's what all this stalking and harassing would lead up to. I think she really thought this was going to lead her to like running away from the internet. I mean, she had kind of scared her off before with the anime reviews she used to do and harassed her to that point. But this time Emily stood up to her, and I'm really happy she did. I'm 100% behind her and glad to see she prevailed in the end. I mean, I would say probably the main reason you're seeing all of us make these videos, there's so many artists out here doing this, we're really happy to see Emily vindicated. We're really happy to see someone who fought long and hard and was a bit of an underdog to begin with CSA having a bigger following, that she came out on top. Because her intentions were pretty pure. They were to not be stalked and harassed anymore. That was it. And Shannon's were, I'm perfect. I did nothing wrong. All I did was nothing. Even all these files and locale stuff, I don't need to address it because it wasn't me. I was spoofed. Yep, sure, Shannon. You got all 0 people believing you. This next one I want to read and also say thank you. From the Ground is someone who has subscribed and been very nice about commenting on every single video. When you guys do that, that is crazy helpful. Hitting that like button, commenting, subscribing. You touch my heart when you do it. You really do. From the Ground says, it's crazy how much Shannon's emotional intelligence shows. I'm not the most mature person out there, and I'd say I'm pretty emotionally stunted myself, but damn, she's on another level. She needs some serious help. Yeah, From the Ground, gonna have to agree with you there 100%. I was thinking the exact same thing. We're talking about a woman who's in her 30s at this point, and there's some times I have been pretty petty in my life. I am not going to shy away from the fact to say that I have held hate in my heart for people that I was envious of. never did I go on a stalking campaign, get caught, and then called out. I've actually kind of had this happen to me and see another person go down for this, but they were much younger. I think they were like 25 at the time. We're talking like a 30-year-old woman who should be grown out of this very high school mentality. That's why when she brought up all the stuff about Emily, like, well, Emily did kind of the same thing back when she was 12 years old. Yeah, because she was 12 years old. Come on, man. That's why we're not even counting that stuff. That's why we're not holding that against her. You know, there's one thing I always say, like when I see somebody who's like approaching my same age and they're still doing stuff like this, I always feel like maybe if you had a family and had kids, you'd be so busy with what's actually real and important in life that you wouldn't take up all your time toiling away at this petty drama BS. At the same time, I can't imagine Creepshow Art being a mom. I hope that's not too mean to say, but if this is how she treats people in her life, I don't know if I'd want to see kids enter into that equation. I'm going to stop touching that subject right there. I feel like I'm treading on dangerous territory. This is an important one I need to read from Mora M. Something to clarify was that Shannon's sister actually blocked Shannon when Shannon herself tried to reach out to them. I got it right that time, guys. While Shannon was posing as someone else on the online forum, she basically said something along the lines of, "I can't believe Shannon's sister blocked her. This proves how insane and crazy they are." And because Shannon herself revealed their sister's which I guess means Twitter, a lot of harassment was sent their way. Oh, I didn't know that. She got harassed because of that? Ugh. When Shannon's sister Twitter was open, they explained their situation as well as how Shannon would ask them for money. No. Shannon's sister also states how they believe that Shannon was the person that was indeed stalking Emily. Something interesting to note was how their sister, correct me if I'm wrong, opposed Shannon's marriage to Anthony, saying that they were not a good match or how they could sense all the red flags from him. Yeah, I think I've heard this not just from her sister, but from multiple people in her life. I believe hearing her talk about this in other videos where she said, my family tried to tell me how horrible and that it was red flags and it wasn't. I mean, yeah, this kind of sounds like malice meets chaos, you know? This is a bad situation. You got one guy who hides away in the shadows and motivates the other person to go on this campaign of harassment. Wow, I did not know all that stuff about Shannon's sister. Thank you so much, Mora. Thank you so much for using the proper gender. I would have messed that up. Okay, our next one is a bit of a dialogue between me and another commenter. Emily Wood says, does anyone else remember the whole crystal ball and Taddy situation going on, and Creepshow Art inserted herself into the drama? She said that her and others were being hacked. I was just wondering if she was the one behind it all along. And at first I was a little bit confused by this. I said, you mean if Shannon was the hacker? Because I thought, I don't think Shannon knows how to hack. And she properly corrected me and said, no, or just made the whole thing up for sympathy points. It happened when the lawyer in Emily's channel was taking off and she seemed to really want Emily as a friend. Emily had a few run-ins without a crystal ball, and it seemed like Creepshow was pretty good at fooling people into thinking they were on the same side. Yeah, Emily, I would 100% agree with you. I think anything we've heard from Shannon in the past was just complete lies. I don't think I would believe much of anything Shannon said in the past as far as hackers are concerned. I don't think she really fully understands what hacking involves. I mean, I barely grasp it myself. She obviously doesn't understand this whole spoofing thing. I would imagine a lot of the things she, quote unquote, had happened to her as far as hacking is concerned tended to just be her Googling different things that could make an excuse for how she was, quote unquote, hacked, and then using those, not realizing how improper or how almost impossible some of these hacking techniques really were. The next one is a very important one. Emily Artful herself actually left a comment on my video. This was on the video about creators react to the Shannon situation. Emily says, "Hi, Inksmith. I love your coverage." Thank you so much, Emily. Huge fan myself. "For clarification, I do all my sketches on Procreate, then I print them, and then I trace over the prints on a final sheet of paper." So we were talking about this before, how Shannon had accused her of tracing, and she said, well, this is what I do. I personally, looking at her artwork from the perspective of someone in the art career and graduated from art college, I could tell just by how organic and natural her strokes were and the bevel of her pencils and even the way she paints, that it was very natural to her. You can't fake having a natural stroke and skill in art. We see this all the time with tracers, where they'll zoom in on a digital project and be like, I was coloring the eye in this project, and it's just tiny little pixels they're filling in. You're like, okay, do like a long stroke and show me what you can actually do. Emily shows like hand drawings of her doing stuff in every video, and it's not digital. It's almost always hand art. So you can see her skill at work. There's no holding back. What she's saying is that why she was being accused of tracing was because she was actually drawing first in Procreate, then printing, then going over her prints that she had made. So she said, yeah, I guess in a sense it is sort of tracing, but I'm tracing my own art, which, Emily, I wouldn't call it tracing. I think you're just a skilled artist. I think you just got a great technique and you know what you want to do as far as your medium is concerned. Okay, our next one gets back into the Rainbow Berry Forest, cool name. "I am highly doubtful that Shannon has been consulting a lawyer, because if she had been, they would tell her not to post such an incriminating video online." Great point. Great point. Creepshow Art thinks she is sly and calculating, but if Emily Artful would decide to pursue Shannon legally, Creepshow is just playing into their hands. Okay, I really don't know if Emily could pursue her legally. These things are far more complicated than we even know. I don't know if it'd even be worth the money. I think a lot of times, a lot of things that YouTubers and viewers forget is that lawyers aren't pro bono 24/7. Lawyers are very expensive. And oftentimes you gotta weigh the cost and see if you're really gonna win enough money. I mean, if we're hearing stories about Shannon constantly borrowing money from her sister, I really wonder how much you could squeeze out of her at this point. Realize that this is a civil case. It would be settled in civil court. I know at least this much about law, that if you settle in civil court, then yeah, you can hold them to pay for what they need to pay. But there's a lot of times where these cases go down and the people never pay out. They just, hide all their funds, get paid under the table. I think that's pretty easy to do with art. I don't know how much you could squeeze out of CSA. Anyway, I read over the letter, and according to quite a few lawyers who read it online, these were actually other lawyer-based YouTube creators, they said the verbiage used in the letter doesn't appear to be someone who is an actual lawyer. The letter that was sent to Emily from Shannon, that they don't use any technical lawyer language, and that's what makes them think it's not a real lawyer. Emily says she thinks it is because when she checked where the email was from, it actually linked back to a legitimate lawyer website. So I don't know what to think. I'm kind of up in the air. I don't want to doubt Emily, because it is good that she takes it serious, and I think she should be ready to defend herself if Shannon wants to go even more psycho with her campaign of terror. But at the same time, I wouldn't put it past Shannon to fake a lawyer letter. Yeah. Our next one here is from Ileana Estrella, and it says, "She wasn't trying to save herself. She was trying to ruin Emily." I think you nailed it there. I think you got it. Yeah, you're right. I think we would all agree Shannon's piece was not, it was not a actual defense of herself. There was nothing there that made us think, oh my God, maybe she didn't do it. Or, oh my God, that's true, that did happen. It could never have been Shannon. Instead, it was just like, Emily sucks. Final word. Emily still sucks. Bye, everyone. Like, that's all she got across in that video. There was nothing telling us that Shannon didn't suck. And in fact, it made Shannon look like she sucked way more.
You know, did we ever think either person was perfect? No, but we were willing to listen to both sides. And when Shannon's side came out, all it did was help Emily's side and make Shannon's look even worse. All right, guys, I'm going to end it here. I hope you were okay with me reading your comment today. In the future, I let people know ahead of time that I was going to read comments for a future video. But if you ever don't want your comment read, or you ever say, don't say my name for the comment, please let me know. If I did that today and you had already tried to message me or let me know before, I'm very sorry. I can make a correction, maybe edit it out of the video later. But I think usually when people post a public comment, they're usually okay with me reading it. One thing I do want to say is thank you so much again for correcting my use of gender in these videos. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. One of the things that kind of holds me back when keeping up with different gender types is I live in Japan. I've lived here for 14 years. When I came here, a lot of gender politics were really starting to fire up and people were starting to get educated. I myself was starting to get educated. I went to art school. A lot of my friends were part of the LGBTQ plus community. I never even cared what anybody's gender or orientation was. I just never even felt like it was my business to be asking, but I always respected it if I was told it. Something I will continue to do in these videos. But one thing I do tend to mess up on is because I've been in Japan for 14 years, my lexicon, my verbiage is oftentimes outdated. I'm not gonna lie and say I keep up with all the funky cool new words out there in the West. I don't. And in fact, Japan has their own set of words for different genders as well. For example, transgender here in Japan is called nuhaf. So there are separate words. They're still katakana, which means they're like a modernized borrow word, but they're very different from the ones in America. So please keep educating me, keep updating my language, help me catch up to you guys. Sorry, I'll probably never use things like slang and stuff like that because I just don't even keep up with what's the fresh, cool new slang all the hip kids are using. Like for a while, when I came here, the word dank came out and I was very confused by this dank word. I'm sounding super old at this point. I'm going to stop here. Thank you again so much for all the new subs. We're about to hit 2K here, which blows my mind. I love having a conversation with you guys, and I love having you guys jump into the Discord here. I'll update the link once again. Let me know if it gets outdated. I'm still new to Discord, trying to figure that thing out. But I'd love to see all you guys in there too. Join me for a conversation. Tell me what I got right or what I got wrong. I'm always open to any kind of dialogue with NEO, and I enjoy the fact that you took the time to watch my video today. Have a great rest of the day. I've been the Inksmith.